The weakest among them, everyone looked at the human cadet and laughed quietly under their breath. He was small, soft-looking with no armor plates, claws, or glowing eyes. His name was Yolin, and he didn't even carry a heavy weapon. Among the galaxy's most powerful warriors, he looked like a child playing soldier. The alien soldiers from the Apex Legion ignored him. To them, he was just a human mistake, an extra body to fill numbers. They believed humans were emotional, weak, and noisy, but Yolin stood silently, watching everything, remembering faces and exits. When the sirens blared, every soldier rushed to grab their weapons. A deep, cold vibration passed through the ground. It wasn't a normal enemy, they all knew that feeling. The Apex commanders froze, eyes wide. Even the toughest among them began backing away. From the dark fog ahead, something moved, a creature, called the Voidmaw. It had no solid form, only endless teeth and hunger. It was one of the oldest living nightmares in the galaxy, and it never turned away from prey. But something strange happened. Yolin didn't move, he stared straight into the fog. Calm and still, one commander shouted, "Run, human," but Yolin only whispered, "No need." He pulled a small blue capsule from his belt, tossed it lightly into the fog. The Apex soldiers watched, confused, then a loud boom shook the air. The creature let out a twisted shriek and stopped moving. It sniffed, turned, and slowly retreated into the mist. Everyone stood frozen. The Apex commander stepped forward. "What did you do?" Yolin replied, "Back home, we had worse." The aliens stared at him like they were seeing him for the first time. No one expected that from a human cadet. They didn't know about the mining colony Yolin came from. It was on the edge of human space, near wild lands full of shadow beasts. His people didn't have giant armies or fancy tech. They survived through silence, traps, and clever thinking. Every night was a battle. Every day was a gift. Yolin was not weak. He was different. He didn't roar or fight with rage. He hunted with calm steps and quiet courage. The redditors of his world had taught him one thing: never blink. Never panic. Later that night, around the campfire, no one laughed at him. Instead, they listened. Yolin shared how he used smells and sounds to confuse deadly beasts. He explained how silence could be louder than a scream. How stillness could break the will of a killer. The Apex warriors couldn't believe it. To them, battle was about strength, but to Yolin, survival was about control. One of the younger alien soldiers asked, "Why didn't you run?" Yolin looked at him and said, "Because when you run, it chases harder." That answer spread through the camp. Even the most dangerous aliens looked at the human with respect. Not because of his size or muscles, but because he faced a monster, made it retreat. The next day, when a new mission came in, the commanders didn't send Yolin to the back. They asked him to lead the forward scout team. Some of the Apex warriors even volunteered to follow him. They didn't fully understand humans yet, but they knew one thing now: this one wasn't prey. Yolin walked with quiet steps, not afraid, not proud, just ready, and the galaxy had no idea what that truly meant. They called him the Calm Reaper after the mission with the Voidmaw. Things changed in the camp. Yolin was no longer ignored or laughed at. Now, Apex warriors gave him space when he walked past. They didn't speak much to him, but they respected him. They had seen something that didn't make sense to them. A human cadet who stood against a galaxy-class predator and didn't flinch. The story spread fast, across camps, ships, and alien networks. They called him the Calm One. Some whispered another name, the Calm Reaper. But Yolin didn't care about names. He kept training alone, woke early, ran drills, sharpened tools, while others flexed their muscles and shouted victory songs. He moved quietly and thought deeply. He always watched, always noticed what others missed. One day, a massive alien warrior named Krog challenged him. Krog was part of the Weirclaw tribe known for crushing skulls with bare hands. He stood 3 meters tall and wore bones as trophies. In front of the others, he growled, "Let's test your calm." Human Yolin didn't move. He just looked up and asked, "Are you sure?" That question made Krog pause. Something in Jalen's voice made the warrior hesitate. Not fear but something older instinct. Krog turned and walked away without a word. No one spoke about it again. But the rumor spread. Yolin didn't even raise a hand. The commanders started watching him more closely. They reviewed his test scores, his field reports. They found patterns: perfect efficiency. No wasted energy. His kills were clean, smart, and always from the shadows. He never shouted, never celebrated, just finished the job and returned. Then came the major threat. A creature known as the Dread Howler. It had destroyed 3 colonies and tore through battle fleets. Its screams made metal shatter and soldiers panic when command announced the mission. The entire base went quiet. Volunteers were needed but no one moved until Yolan stepped forward. "I'll go," he said calmly. The room turned to him like he had spoken lightning. The general hesitated. "Alone." Yolan nodded. "With the right tools, I won't need more." Some called it madness. But others saw something else: certainty. Not pride, not ego, just someone who knew. The mission began in silence. No cheering, no drums, just one small ship, flying toward a dead planet. Yolan landed on the cracked surface. Fog swirled around his boots. He carried a small bag and a scanner. No heavy weapons, no armor team. From orbit, commanders watched the feed. They saw the Howler approach, massive, fast, and angry. But Yolan didn't run. He placed small devices around the battlefield. He walked with careful steps, drawing the creature in. When it got close, he triggered. A sound burst. The Howler screamed but missed him by inches. He moved again, faster now, setting up a trap. And finally, he stood in the center, eyes closed. The Howler charged and vanished into a pit lined with sonic spikes. The trap was perfect. Precise timing, flawless aim. The monster roared from inside, trapped and unable to escape. Yolan opened his eyes. "Stay calm," he whispered to himself. The feed ended. The alien generals stared at one another, stunned. This human cadet had done in one day what entire fleets couldn't. When he returned to base, they didn't cheer. They simply stepped aside, letting him pass like a ghost. No one called him weak. Again, he was now a legend in silence, and everyone wondered if this was just a cadet. What were the others like on Earth? Even death held its breath. They had sent fleets, weapons, and elite squads before, but nothing worked. The creature called Night's End had survived black holes, eaten starships, and crushed civilizations. Now it was moving toward a peaceful moon, full of scientists and children. Command called an emergency meeting. Every strategy failed before it was even tested. Then a quiet voice spoke from the back. "I'll go," said Yolan. The room turned silent. One of the generals asked, "Do you understand what this thing is?" Yolan nodded. "I do." They gave him what he asked for, just a shuttle. 3 bags of mining tools, a dataship, and 2 days. When he reached the moon, it was already shaking. Night's End was miles long, moving like a mountain with a mind. It had glowing eyes like burning suns and skin that absorbed missiles. But Yolan didn't bring missiles. He brought something else, something no one expected. He studied its patterns, watched its slow breathing, noticed the way it circled before striking. Every creature has a rhythm, he believed, even nightmares. While the monster moved, Yolan placed charges deep under the moon's crust. He used old mining codes designed to break stone, not kill beasts. But he aimed for something different: pressure points in the land. He wanted to change the battlefield itself. When the creature finally reached him, Yolan stood still again. No armor, no shield, only calm. The soldiers watching through satellites held their breath. Even death, it seemed, paused for a moment. The creature opened its jaws wide, and Yolan dropped the final trigger into the ground. A soft click. Then the land itself shifted. Mountains collapsed inward, cracks opened beneath the monster. Lava rose, but the fire was shaped, guided by the charges. It didn't kill the beast. It trapped it, wrapped it in a cage of stone and pressure. A tomb only nature could build. Yolan stepped back, clothes scorched, skin burned, but alive. The generals shouted over the coms. "Is it over?" Yolan answered with just 2 words. "For now." When he returned, he didn't go to the briefing room. He sat beside a wounded medic, helping wrap a burn. Reporters wanted interviews. Governments wanted statues. He just wanted quiet. The alien leaders met in secret. "If one human cadet can do this," one said, "what happens when Earth sends a soldier?" They agreed on one thing: never underestimate a calm face again. Back in the training camp, new recruits pointed at Yolan from a distance. One asked, "What is he?" Another whispered, "He's the reason apex predators back away." Yolan never called himself a hero. But the galaxy began calling him something else. The human that made monsters think twice. And somewhere out in deep space, another threat stirred, but it would find Earth more ready than before, because humans don't roar. They adapt, they study, and when they strike, even death holds its breath.